Deep within the untamed forests of ancient Greece, where the shadows move in rhythm with the wind and the moonlight pierces the canopy like a silver spear, dwells a goddess unlike any other. She is the protector of the innocent, the punisher of the proud, and the undisputed queen of the wilderness. She is Artemis. While other gods feasted in the golden halls of Olympus, tangled in the politics of power, Artemis roamed the highest mountains with a silver bow in her hand and a pack of wolves at her side. She is a figure of paradox, a healer who could bring plague, a protector who was a deadly hunter, and a goddess who chose a life of solitude over the comforts of a throne. Today, on Preo Tidings, we journey into the heart of the wild to uncover the myths, the battles, and the eternal legacy of the moon goddess. The story of Artemis begins not with peace, but with a desperate flight for survival. She was the daughter of Zeus, the king of gods, and the Titaness Leto. But their union sparked a legendary fury in Hera, Zeus's wife. In her jealousy, Hera cursed Leto, forbidding any land that the sun touched to provide her a place to give birth. Exhausted and hunted, Leto finally found refuge on the floating island of Delos, a barren rock that was not technically attached to the earth. It was here, under a palm tree, that Artemis was born. But her legend began the very second she entered the world. Mythology tells us that as soon as she was born, Artemis stood up and served as a midwife to help her mother deliver her twin brother, Apollo. Think about that for a moment. From her first breath, she was a protector. This is why throughout history, women in labor would call out her name. She became the patron of the vulnerable, a beacon of hope in the most difficult hours of human life.
One of the most defining moments in her lore happened when she was just a young girl. Legend says she sat on her father Zeus's lap on Mount Olympus. Charmed by her spirit, Zeus offered to grant her any wish. Most would have asked for gold or cities to rule, but Artemis asked for something far more valuable: her freedom. She asked for eternal virginity, so she would never be bound to a man. She asked for a silver bow and arrows crafted by the Cyclopes themselves. She asked for a 60-piece choir of ocean nymphs and 20 wood nymphs to be her companions. And most importantly, she asked for the mountains to be her domain. Zeus granted them all. By choosing the wilderness over a husband, Artemis became the ultimate symbol of autonomy. She proved to the ancient world that a person's worth isn't defined by who they marry, but by their own skill, their own spirit, and their own connection to the earth. Artemis was never truly alone. She was the leader of a legendary group known as the Hunters of Artemis. This was an elite sisterhood made up of nymphs and mortal women who had grown tired of the restrictions of society. To join her, one had to take a vow of purity and dedication to the hunt. In return, Artemis shared her power with them. She granted them immortality as long as they stayed true to the hunt, and a life of absolute freedom. They were the original outsiders. They didn't spin wool or stay in the kitchen. They tracked lions, outran deer, and protected the sacred groves. They were a reminder that the wild does not care about gender. It only cares about strength and survival. But do not mistake her independence for softness. Artemis was a warrior of the highest order. During the Great War of the Giants, the Gigantomachy, she was on the front lines. While the earth-shaking giants tried to tear down the heavens, Artemis moved like a ghost. She famously took down the giant Grecian with her silver arrows, fighting alongside her brother Apollo. And then there were the Aloade giants, Otus and Ephialtes. These brothers were so arrogant they tried to pile mountains on top of each other to reach the gods.
Artemis didn't fight them with brute force. She used her cunning. She transformed into a beautiful white doe and darted between them. In their blind greed to kill the deer, the two brothers threw their spears at the same time and ended up killing each other.
She taught a lesson that still resonates today. Brute strength is nothing without intelligence. Those who disrespected the natural order or harmed the innocent felt her wrath, and her aim was always perfect. Yet, even the heart of the huntress had a shadow. The most famous tragedy of her life involves Orion, the giant hunter. Orion was perhaps the only man Artemis ever truly respected. They were kindred spirits, spending their days hunting together across the islands. But her brother Apollo grew jealous and protective. He feared his sister would break her sacred vow. One day, while Orion was swimming far out at sea with only his head visible, Apollo challenged Artemis to a contest. He pointed to a dark speck in the waves and claimed she couldn't hit it. Driven by her competitive nature, Artemis let fly an arrow. It hit the mark perfectly. Only when the tide washed the body ashore did she realize she had killed her only true friend. Broken by grief, she used her power to place him among the stars. To this day, the Orion constellation shines in the night sky, a tribute to a bond that even a goddess couldn't keep. Artemis represents the part of the human spirit that refuses to be tamed. She is the rustle in the leaves, the silence of the deep woods, and the cold, honest light of the moon. She reminds us that independence is a gift, that nature is sacred, and that our greatest strength comes from within. From the great temple at Ephesus to the modern stories we tell today, Artemis remains immortal. She didn't need a kingdom because the whole world was her home. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the legend of the moon goddess. What part of her story resonates with you the most? Is it her independence, her fierce protection of nature, or her tragic loss? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure to like this audio and subscribe to Prio Tidings for more explorations into the myths that shaped our world. Keep your aim true and your spirit wild. Until next time,